We have Johannesburg's new mayor, Kabelo Gwamanda, a representative from Jama'ah in the city council. Gwamanda was voted into power with a staggering 139 votes, while the DA's Popalade and Action SA's Funzi Ngubeni received 68 and 59 votes respectively. He's the 9th mayor of Joburg since 2016. Our political analyst Ebrahim Harvey says fiercely competitive rivalries between coalition parties adversely affects service delivery, and joins me now to discuss this further. Ebrahim, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us on the Weekend Report this morning. Indeed, it does seem that the residents of Johannesburg are the ones who are adversely affected by the developments that we've been seeing in council. But did we really foresee this amount of chaos and instability?
No, good morning, thanks. I had foreseen it. I knew, you see, that's why in the News 24 column that you're calling me about, I called it a manipulative palace politics that has play in the biggest and most important municipality, not only in South Africa, but in Africa. The biggest budget, 7-8 billion rand, so there's much at stake. You see the mayoral committee, the mayor of Johannesburg or any mayor, the ANC insisted that it have executive authority when municipal government legislation was being negotiated in the 1990s. They probably thought they will rule forever. So that is why they gave the mayor such huge executive authority. But what is happening here quite clearly? You must also remember that the reason why it is untrue to think that the crisis in the municipal Johannesburg begins with 2016 when the ANC was voted out by a combination of the DA and the EFF. There was the worst crisis in Johannesburg up to date before 2016, which is precisely why the ANC lost 2016 and don't forget lost 2021 also. Look, it's most unfortunate. I said it on SABC last night. Have you ever heard, this thing is about money, to be honest with you, money, tenders and, financial power and all vested in the mayoral committee. But more importantly, you'll see that the top 5 of the 6 positions of mayoral committee is ANC people, right? Then there's a couple of EFF and so on. So the ANC has very shrewdly and sharply made sure that they sit in the most important seats on that mayoral committee. But I must tell you one thing that is glaring. And you never hear this in any of the debates going on. The election manifestos of the contending parties. The program of action for service delivery. What are the policy priorities? You hear nothing of that. All you hear is an obsession with posts, who's getting what posts and who's being denied. That has been, and that tells you a lot of what the thrust of the negotiation, of the coalition politics is in the city of Johannesburg.
Ebrahim, you make such an important note about looking at the makeup of the mayoral committee. A large portion of those positions, or those positions, in fact, being handed out to the ANC in the city of Johannesburg. Now, in your article, you make reference to the palace politics that's at play here, right? Which is, what Joburg residents have been watching, especially in this last round of voting. Top-level officials interacting at that level, far removed from the realities of those on the ground. We saw the caucusing, we saw all those delays in the voting, which resulted in the election actually taking place on Friday and not the initial date of Tuesday. How should Joburg residents be responding to what we're seeing, the optics of all of this playing out?
Well, they'll have a chance to express how they feel, at the next local government elections or next year's 2024 elections. But let me tell you, I think it's insult to average intelligence. Voters are able to see what is going on here, because the wishes and aspirations of, the black townships, for example, are in the worst, biggest crisis. Who can believe me saying that compared to apartheid days, the black townships in which I moved, politically, was far better off than the mess you have today. Sewage running down the roads, black kids dying in pit latrines. It's a total mess, sinkholes, potholes, Joburg is in the worst crisis since it was formed in 1886, believe me. The worst infrastructural crisis on the whole. So you needed a strong, inspiring mayoral candidate. To be honest with you, when I watched Kabelo Gwamanda yesterday, a flat, uninspiring speech he gave. And I mean, who wants to be told, about, it's really just, that God, it's the will of God, that he has won this. It's not that, it's the will of the ANC, because the ANC went for, you'll see his predecessor, Ahmad, the weakest mayors. Why? So that the ANC can better manipulate them. You see, it's a token position. This is what it is. It's vested formally with executive authority, but let me tell you, the rest of the people in the mayoral committee will dictate terms to him. Remember that the mayoral committee salary and perks is not something to scoff at. It's huge. This is what he's getting, and all of them are getting in return for the executive authority. They dominate the mayoral committee, the ANC people. The most important strategic posts are dominated by the ANC. That is what the ANC has done in this case. And really, it's a terrible thing, that this is happening at the worst crisis in Johannesburg ever. Can you believe it? I mean, this is the worst crisis. It has never been so bad.
Now, you say that Joburg residents should respond by paying attention to the power that they hold come 2024. But that's my concern right there, Ebrahim, is that with the instability and the chaos that we're seeing playing out at a lot of these metros, the resultant effect is that we're going to get an apathetic electoral voting cohort, essentially, because really going to feel out of sorts and completely displaced and not seen. And as a result, refuse to go out to the polls next year. Yes.
No, you're speaking about an indisputable statistical fact. In fact, from 2009 already, voter turnout has steadily declined, and especially over the past decade. It's a global historical trend. Whenever voters are apathetic, when they feel they've been neglected and ignored, they stay away from the polls, you see. And a very important question you've raised. I really think that you're going to see it next year. And it depends what the outcome of next year will be. But voter turnout and apathy has been a growing trend in all elections over the past 15 years and steadily getting worse. And what is it really? An inverse reflection of the loss of confidence of the voter in the ANC. That is why it lost. Remember Joburg, Tshwane, Koreni. You're talking of the powerhouse of production, the nerve center of the economy. They lost it 2016. They lost it 2021. If you've ever spoke about voters talking with their feet, stamping, you've seen it 2016 and 17, and 21. But you're right. We run the risk all the time, and the ANC has acknowledged it. Less and less voters are turning out to vote.
You're right. Oh, Ebrahim, unfortunately, we are going to have to leave it there for now. That's a political analyst, Ebrahim Harvey, helping us to break down the turbulence that we've been seeing at a local government level with these multi-party coalitions.